2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 3, bar 3. Captain Underpants. Okay, we read that. We read that. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
When Harold
This
bent
looks like a
down
job
and
for
chose
Crash.
in the
Captain
file cabinet and he
Underpants.
took a quick
Captain
look
Underpants
inside.
ran to the
Whoa,
storage
he
room.
cried.
Yum,
Look
yum,
at all the
eat 'em
stuff
up.
in here. The
He
file
found a bunch
cabinet
of
was filled with
plungers.
everything.
He put them into the
Mr. Cooper
toilet.
taken away from the boys over
Their
the
mouths
years.
got stuck.
Slingshots,
Tra-la-la-la-la.
skateboards, the big dog
Hooray for
doo-doo.
Captain
His name was
Underpants.
in there.
Now to stop
Look at
that
this,
evil
a big stack of Captain
UFO.
Underpants comics. He's got
Captain
every
Underpants
issue.
went outside and
said
saw the UFO.
Harold.
It opened up, click, and
For
out
hours-
jumped
for
the
hours,
terrible
the two
Turbo
boys
Trailer
sat
2000.
laughing
I'll
to read
flush
other comics.
you.
Finally, Jordan went to the claw. Yikes!
They had
It's
a
always
big
fun
fight.
to put a kid
Captain
in
Underpants was
class.
faster than a
Instead of
speeding
the person,
waistband
I would stand
Zip.
behind him for a trace all
and
morning.
more powerful than boxer
Gee,
shorts.
I almost forgot about Mr. Crook, he said.
And able to leap tall buildings without getting a wedgie. Captain Underpants snuck up behind the Turbo Trailer 2000 and gave him a wedgie. Wedgie power! Ouch!
Cool, said George.
Then he hung the
walked up to the
TT 2000 on a stop sign and pulled back hard. Then he let go like a slingshot. Kaboom! The spaceship blew up and all the toilets returned to normal. Hooray! Even the gym teacher escaped. Aw, man. The end.
You are a monkey.
Chapter 10. A big mistake.
Oh, yeah.
George and Harold sat together in the detention room,
Suddenly, Mr. Croops
reading
sprang
through their newest
off
comic
his
book and
desk
beaming
began
proudly.
swinging from the phone.
We've got to go to the office and make copies of this, said George, so we can sell them to the playground tomorrow. We can't, said Harold. Don't you remember? Mr. Krupp said he'd suspend us if he caught us leaving this room. Then we won't let him catch us, said George.
Monster.
George and Harold sneaked out of the room quietly and crawled down the hall to the office. Uh-oh, said Harold. There's a bunch of teachers in there.
Doing the greatest
We'll
theater
never
of
get to
all.
use the copy machine.
Of all time, the
said
amazing
George. Are there any
Captain
other copy machines in the school?
Underpants!
Shh, let me sleeping. How about
Mr.
the
Crook
old
tore down the red curtain from
one
his office window and
that
tied it
Melvin
around his neck.
had in the
Then he
gym?
took off his shoes,
asked Harold.
skirts,
Oh yeah, said
sock
George.
shirt, pants.
George and Harold
off
crept
of
over to the
two
gym and
pins.
found the Patsy 2000. Wonder if this machine still makes copies, said Harold.
Ra-la-la-la-la,
Melvin did say that he had
said
made some
Mr.
adjustments
Crook
to it.
stood before
Oh, he
them
probably
looking
just crammed
quite
a mouse
sure.
in there to fool us, said George.
With his
It's the oldest trick in the
blowing
book,
on
I'm
the
sure.
rays in his
The
open
machine still makes regular
Jordan
copies.
Harold was
George placed the
just
cover of their new comic book face down
dumb
on the
fun.
glass screen
You
and
know,
pressed
Jordan.
start.
He kind of looks like Captain Underpants. Yeah. The girl was like, after a short silence, the two boys looked
All
at
at
each other.
once,
And
the lights in the whole school dimmed.
As
The
a
Patsy
burst of
2000
laughter.
began to shake.
George and Harold had
clunk
never
around
laughed
wildly.
so hard in all
Giant
their
volts
lives.
of static electricity
Tears ran
zapped
down
out of
their
the bottom of
faces
the
and
machine
rolled about the floor.
as the great
Shrieking
whirlwind
in
rose
her
from the
rights.
top.
And around George
Loose
pulled
papers
himself
and
over
all
the
other
floor.
small objects in the room
Hey,
were
George,
sucked
where
into
did he
the
go?
wind, and they
Chapter
spun
12.
above the machine like a
Out
raging
the window.
cyclone. I don't think
George
it's
and
supposed to
Harold
do this,
dashed out
shouted
the window
George
with that.
over
And
the
running across
terrible
the
noise.
parking lot with plenty
Finally,
of diamonds underwear. And
after a
Fred
series
Cox
of
flowing
flashes
behind
and
them.
loud zaps,
Tra-la-la-la-la.
the noise, wind, and sparks stopped all
Mr.
together.
Crook came back.
The only sound that could be
Mr.
heard
Crook, come back.
was of something groaning and
What answer
clawing
to that?
about inside the bloated, battered frame
Oh no,
of the Patsy
probably rolling
2000.
out the fight crying.
Sounds like something's alive inside there, said Harold.
The fight crying.
George snatched the comic book from the top of the machine.
Oh,
Let's get
no,
out of
cried
here,
Harold.
he cried.
Look, George, he get killed out there.
Just then, a small ding was heard. A full-sized, shiny white toilet emerged from the side of the Patsy 2000. Its teeth were sharp and jagged, and its angry eyeballs glowed with red, swelling veins. Yum, yum, eat 'em up, cried the evil toilets. Almost immediately, another talking toilet emerged. Oh, another, yum, yum, eat 'em up.
They cried. Oh
no!
What?
Melvin was right. The photoatomic transmogulating electrofantripulatizationometer really does create living, breathing, three-dimensional copies of two-dimensional images. Harold cried. Oh,
George and
I've got
Harold
an idea,
rode
said
their
George.
skateboards
What?
out
Asked Harold.
all over
Run,
town looking
said
at Captain
George.
Underpants. Can't find him anywhere, said George.
George and Harold
They got
screamed
him
and
over
ran
the
out the
easy
dread
spots,
door,
George.
closing it tightly behind them. Aha! Yelled Mr. Krupp,
Then the boys turned
who
the
was just
corner,
coming
and
down
there
the
he
hall.
was,
You
Captain
boys left
Underpants,
detention room.
standing in
You
front of
know
the
what
man
that
with the white
means,
coat.
don't you?
Heroic. Mr.
It wasn't our
Crookston.
fault, cried Harold. Too bad, Mr. Krupp shouted. With delight, you boys are officially suspended.
Oh, yeah, said Harold.
Wait, said George. You got to listen. Behind this door is an army of evil, vicious talk. I don't have to listen to you boys ever again, laughed Mr. Krupp. Now get your stuff and get out of the school. But, Harold stammered, you don't understand. Get out, Mr. Krupp screamed. George and Harold groaned and walked to their lockers to collect their stuff. Gosh, said Harold. In one day, we've gotten a detention, a suspension, and we've created an army of evil talking toilets who want to take over the world. That's a pretty bad day, even by our standards, said George. Oh well, said Harold. I just hope things don't get any worse.
Who the heck are you supposed to be? Why am Captain Underpants? It's great to be here, Captain.
Word spread quickly throughout the office that George and Harold had been suspended. The teachers rushed out of the chair and laughed at the boys. You're in big trouble now, chuckled Mr. Anthrope. I can't wait to call your parents and tell them the news. Let's just take their desks outside and chop them up, cried Mr. Ribble.
Uh-oh.
Let's throw a party in the gym, shouted Mr. Meaner. No, cried George. Whatever you do, don't open that door to the gym.
It's too late. George and Harold and Captain Underpants were gone.
Oh.
Chapter 14. Big Bird.
We can do whatever we like, snarled
After
Mr.
the quick
Meaner
escape,
as he dashed
George and
into
Harold
the
and
gymnasium
Captain
door.
Underpants
Look,
stopped
I'm opening the door.
on the
quickly opened
desert
the gym
street
door.
corner Castor
Now I'm
Rock.
closing the door, he said. Now open
Okay,
the door
George,
again,
let's
and
get
now
under nose
ah,
before something else
Bimblea.
happens.
An evil toilet fish stuck its mouth through the door, snapped
A
Mr.
huge
Meaner up and swallowed him whole.
Came from
Flush.
the bare crystal shop
The
across
talking
the street.
toilets
Heavy
then pushed their
smoke
way through
poured
the
out
open
the building.
gymnasium door and
Suddenly,
spilled out into the
two
hallway.
robots
Yum, yum,
one
eat 'em
stone
up.
crystal
The toilets
emerged
bellowed.
with the smoke
Yum, yum, eat 'em up.
and jumped on an old truck.
The teachers couldn't believe their eyes.
Did I just see two
They screamed and
robots
ran
in
for
those
their
trucks?
lives.
And that's
Only
what-
Mr.
You know,
Krupp,
George,
Mr.
I was
Ribble,
in the store was
Ms. Ribble, and George and Harold remained
Unbelievable or not, said Harold. We're not getting involved. I repeat,
frozen in
we're
fear.
not getting involved.
They watched paralyzed as
Just
the talking
then,
toilets came nearer and nearer.
Captain
Finally,
Underpants
Ms.
leaped
Ribble
in the
pointed to the
street,
toilets and snapped her
corner
fingers.
and dashed to
Snap.
the front of the shop.
Go away,
Stop
she
the name of
cried.
underwear.
Go away this
Stop
minute.
in the name of
But the
underwear.
toilets
Crap.
didn't listen.
Uh-oh.
They moved
George,
closer
I think we're
and
involved.
closer. Finally,
Involved.
Miss Ribble turned
Two
and ran.
robots started on the
Mr.
truck.
Krupp, however, just stood there
and
in
Captain
a
Underpants.
daze.
Unfortunately,
George and Harold looked
truck
up at him. Uh-oh,
crushed
Mr. Harold.
coming against
Did she just
Kate,
snap
he
her
got caught.
fingers?
What a mighty jerk,
Yep, said
Captain
George.
Underpants fell backwards.
Now we're really in
Jerk.
trouble.
And
George
truck
was right.
pulled his
For at
large
that moment,
away.
Mr. Krupp had begun to change.
Help!
A silly, heroic smile came
Cried
over his
George.
face
Still boys skateboarded
as he stood
on the
defiantly
lot with mighty truck,
before his
see,
foes.
truck and grabbed
I'll put a stop to the vile villains, he said fearlessly, but first, I need some supplies.